All right, hello world. This is CS50 Live. My name is Colton Ogden. If you're tuning in for the first time, CS50 Live is a spinoff of Harvard's course CS50, taught by David Malin. But my name is Colton Ogden, and I sort of lead these Twitch streams where we do a little bit more than what the course goes into, which is an intro to CS. These streams are a little bit more oriented towards projects and looking at technology. And this in particular is part 2 of a stream on implementing the game 2048. So I'm just going to pull it up here on my screen and do a little switcheroo. So this is the game 2048. We looked at this last week as well. If you're unfamiliar with 2048, you have this grid of numbers. They all start off as 2, and it's a 4x4 grid. You can move all of them at once in one direction. So if I hit left on the keyboard right now, you'll notice that all of the tiles went to the left. And if 2 tiles move in a direction and overlap and they're the same, if they basically move, they're the same number, they will combine together to create duplicate of that number. So right now, for example, if you're looking at the right side of this board, there are 2 2s on the far right column, 2 and 2. If I move all of the tiles down, that became a 4 at the very bottom right. And that's sort of how the game works. You combine like terms over and over and over again. And eventually your goal is to get the number 2048, which of course is a power of 2. Oh, these are all powers of 2 by the result of multiplying everything together by 2. Every time you move a tile together, every tile is a multiple of 2. And 2048 is kind of an arbitrary stopping point. I believe you can still play it indefinitely after that. I think you can go up to 5, what would that be? 5,096 and so on and so forth. And yeah, that's essentially the game 2048. If you're not familiar, it's very, very popular back in, I think, 2011, 12, 13. Actually, I think it was 2013, 2014, roughly around that time. That is 2048. And the last time we were here, actually, I'm just going to pull this up, we implemented our own version of this in LÖVE and Lua. So this is the framework and the language that we're going to be using today. So Lua is a scripting language. LÖVE 2D is a framework, sort of a game engine, but a very lightweight game engine that you can download from löve2d.org. So you'll notice that they have a lot of installers here for your operating system. Highly encourage you to watch the first part where we sort of hammered through the basics of the game and didn't really spend too much time on the design aspect of it because we were kind of just implementing it from scratch. Today, what I would like to do is spend some time sort of refactoring the code a bit because it's a bit messy and actually get the number combinations to work and the victory and loss conditions if we have time. This may end up becoming a 3rd-part stream depending on how much progress we can make today. We're going to spend about 3 hours working on it. If we can get a good sizable amount finished, then we'll call it done. We'll say that we finished it. But if there's still a lot of things remaining to be done and things that we can make a 3rd stream from, we will do that next week. We'll do another 3rd part next week. In addition to hopefully another stream next week that we'll start publicizing soon if everything works well together. So thanks to everybody who's tuning in. Thunder OZ says, hi, really appreciate your work, Colton. That's awesome. Thank you so much. And Asuna978 says, I love you to CS50 TV. Well, thank you very much, both of you. Much appreciated. And good to see Bavik Knight, Azlik, True Kines, Anon Boyak, Santosh Jackman, Eben Johnson, Loner Kington, and Zenark Redcape. That's a new name. I don't recognize Zenark Redcape. And JPGat was saying hello. Hello, JPGat. Good to see you as well. Awesome. So we did a lot of this last time, the whole setting up the project thing. And we created a repo. And I don't remember offhand what the repo name was. So I'm actually going to grab it right now off of GitHub and share it in the chat. GitHub is a little bit slow these days to initially boot up. But it's 2048 stream. That's what it is. So if I type in here, github.com/coltonoscopies/2048-stream. Yep, boom. That is the code that we put together last time. So it's sizable, actually. And we ended up using the knife library as well. If I scroll down here, we ended up writing about 300 lines of code, 284 lines of code. And we're sort of breaking a, you need to store a repo. You need to create a repo to store all the names of your repos. At this point, that's actually true. And I think CS50 even does something similar to that for one of the projects we have. What was I going to say before this? Oh, the main.lua file that we have in this project has gotten really large. And this is not ideal. Ideally, we should be breaking out everything into modules using, ideally, using classes and defining objects that we can therefore, basic object-oriented programming stuff. And it works well in Lua. There's a library, a class library that we can pull up and use that we've used in prior streams. I remembered to get a good amount of water this time, so hopefully my mouth won't get too dried out in the process. Let me see, where did we do this before? We used another repo that had this library, but in case we can't find it, the acronym for this library always kills me, but it's helper utilities for maximum productivity and massive progression. Sorry, I always think it's maximum productivity. But yeah, I'll avoid actually pronouncing the acronym. But it's an amazing library, and they have this class.lua file, which is awesome. So we're going to use that. I'm going to just clone this here. And let's open up a terminal as well while we're at it. I'm going to go over, let's see, where am I? OK, dev, streams, 2048. And then let's go ahead and get clone into this. And then we're just going to extract the, I'm getting lost. There we go. Streams. 2048 is at the top. I'm just going to take the class.lua out of here and delete the rest of it, because we will not need the rest of it. We can keep it more family friendly that way in the process. And I'm going to bring this over into the lib folder. So now this is where we're going to have all of the library source code. So this is just kind of a convention. So because we're using class.lua from this library, I'm just dragging it into lib. It's not going to be part of our core source directory. Now I'm going to open up the project in VS Code 2048. You can drag a folder onto VS Code, and that'll open it up as a project. And I'm going to now probably shrink this chat box just a little bit. It's a little bit large. Let me just do that so everyone can see what I'm typing. Let me know if that's a little too small. I imagine it's probably still readable, hopefully, maybe. But ideal that we should be able to read the source code. Now, if we're going to do a refactor, what I generally like to do is create a new folder in my main directory. So if you're brand new to Love2D and the sort of way you create projects in Love2D, you'll notice that I have a main.lua file sort of at the root of my folder. And that's the starting point of your application. So Love2D is going to look for a main.lua. It's going to parse it, and it's going to look for a few set of core functions that you've written yourself, really overwritten yourself. And then it's going to use that to sort of form the basic structure of your game loop. Which, if you're unfamiliar with game loop, a game loop is essentially just the infinite loop that lets you create a game. Things just happen over and over again, and that's a game loop. We talked about it a little bit last time. Essentially, you update, you take input, and not in that order. You take input, update your frame, render your frame, and that's sort of the infinite process of creating a game. It's an illusion of making sure that, of creating movement and doing all kinds of things. And this is essentially where you define your game loop. Now, if I wanted to have more source code, what I'll do is I'll create a new folder here called not SC, SRC, like that. And then within that, I'm going to want to think about now which sort of classes or modules I want to create to better organize my code. And from last time, what I remember, we sort of had this idea of a game grid that stored references to the tiles themselves. And I think it stored more information than that. But it was essentially just primarily the actual tiles themselves that it cared about, really. And if you could therefore track when you're moving a tile in a given direction, if it bumps into another tile, by seeing if the grid has a reference to another tile at an arbitrary YX position on the grid, right? And Trucanis kindly plugged 2048, the game, day-to-day life. Hello, good to see you, and also Colton and Bezinul. Thank you. Oh, can we change the quality on Twitch now? Oh, that's cool. I did not know that we had that ability. I thought that was just a sort of partner feature. That's cool if we can do that. That's news to me. I was not aware of that. So give me just a second, everybody. I'm going to have to cut the camera just for a moment. We need to adjust something really fast. But yeah, previously you needed the what's it called? Partnership with Twitch, or being an affiliate. I think it was just affiliate ship. And when you had affiliate ship, you are able to provide encoded different resolutions to your to the folks watching your stream. So nice, good feature. OK, so this is a lot of code. We have a lot of work to do today. Move up. And another thing that I didn't like was that these move up, move left, move down functions are all the same code, more or less. Some of them are half-baked, but I think there's an abstraction that we can make there if we spend a little bit of time working on that. Yeah. So let's go ahead, and my gut says that we should create a new file. I'm going to call this grid.lua. And this grid can be essentially, I guess, the tile grid. Not actually necessarily what's going to render the tiles, but where we can keep track of where the tiles are, their positions, right? And we can therefore go through the grid, see which tiles are filled, and then if we move all the tiles, we won't therefore move a tile all the way from the right to the left. We'll move it from the right to wherever the nearest empty spot on the grid is, right? Because the tiles sort of collide with each other. They're physical. And so this will be that sort of structure, the sort of behind the tiles grid. And it'll actually render itself too. So in order to use that class library that we created earlier, what we need to do is, usually I do this a little bit differently, but you have a dependencies file. In this case, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to say class equals require lib/class, like that. So it returns a class object. That class object allows us to create classes. And if you're familiar with Java or Python or other object-oriented programming languages, a class is just a way to define a blueprint for something that we can make an instance of. We can say, I'm going to define what a grid is, and then we can create an actual grid object that we therefore can manipulate after that's been done. And this is essentially what we're going to do. So this grid is going to look something like this. We're going to say grid is equal to class with these two curly brackets, which is the way that class lets you instantiate or its classes, class objects. And then what we can do here is we can say function grid init, which is a constructor function in this library. So a constructor essentially is what happens when you create a new object of this type. If I want to create a grid object, init is going to be called right away. And then we can also create things like update functions for our grid and a render function for our grid, which is cool. So if I go over here, there's an extra line here that I don't need. This grid right here is was essentially just a raw table before. And so now what we would do instead is we would say grid is equal to grid, like that. And wherever we have mention of grid, we're going to need to change things up just a little bit. This might happen by default, right? This would be part of the initialization of the grid, right? What we're doing here is we're going through our grid, or rather what was previously our grid table, our one-dimensional grid table, and we are making a 2D table out of it by creating a new table for each y level of the grid, so 4 times in this case. And then for each of those inner tables, we're adding a sort of new grid space where we just have an x, a y, an occupied flag, and a tile variable, which in this case normally is set to nil. Nil is sort of like the null or undefined in Lua. And this lets us determine whether there's an actual tile at that location or not, right? Have you guys done any Mario kind of adventure game? Not yet, but that's been recommended, so that might be actually a fun one to do in the future. The games course that I teach, we do cover Super Mario Brothers. So if you want to get a sense of that, you can go to, let me type in the link here, cs50.edx.org/games. Excuse me. And I believe it's lecture 4. Yeah, 0 indexed. Week 4, we go over making a Super Mario Brothers clone. So check that out if you're interested. It's actually pretty cool. We do like procedural generation for the levels too, so it's a little bit unique in that sense. So this is like I said, the initialization part of our grid. So what I can do, I'm actually going to do this. I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to bring this over to grid. I'm actually going to put this right in the init function like this. And I'm going to make sure it's indented properly. We don't need this comment anymore because obviously that's what we're doing. And in this case, the grid is going to maintain its own reference to that 2D tile grid. So I can say we'll say self.tiles is equal to, and then I'll do a empty thing like that. And then here what we can do is we can say, instead of doing a table.insert onto what was previously the one-dimensional grid table, now what I'm doing is I'm saying table.insert into self.tiles at index y, which is whatever this loop is at. And whoops. Now we're essentially hiding away the process of creating the grid. It's not in main.lua anymore. Now it exists in this grid constructor. Again, this grid call right here, where we're saying grid with parentheses, is calling this init function. It's the constructor function of this class, this grid class, right? Cool. So these mock tiles here are cool and everything. Let's bring these out as well, because these we can actually, now what I'm debating is whether we should make the grid maintain a reference to the actual tile objects themselves. So here's what we're going to also need to do. We're going to need to create a tile class, not tile.lao, tile.lua. Let's rename that. We're going to need to create a tile class, because the tiles move around. So the thing is, the grid can maintain a reference sort of to what currently is at whatever 2D index in space. But the actual tiles themselves can move around. They have x, y values. They get tweened. They combine into each other. And therefore, it sort of makes sense that they get abstracted out into their own class, their own object, because they have their own behavior, sort of. Why do you have 0 indexed everything if you always have to mention that it is actually 0 indexed? I think in case people are watching and they're not familiar with the CS50 sort of way, then the 0 index reference is to week 4 in Mario. I guess to make sure people don't go to like whatever the 4th lecture is, but actually the 5th lecture, just to make sure they know. But a lot of people don't know about 0 indexing if they're brand new to CS. It's sort of a CS exclusive thing, right? Or mathematical, depending on what you're doing. Blarg bluffering 720p at the Stum Blondlin. Oh yeah, 720p. Yeah, if you lower it down, that will definitely probably not give you as much difficulty. I'm not sure if transcoding is available for everybody. I know that some people were mentioning it. Hopefully it's available for everybody. But anyway, this is going to be our tile class, and this comment is not that helpful, but it's something that I kind of just like to do. I'm going to say tile is equal to, again, using the same syntax we saw before, it's going to be equal to a class with the curly brackets, and then I define the set of functions that I care about, which is tile init, tile update, and tile render. And this is going to be a little bit of work, actually, getting through all of this and what's it called? Getting through everything, piecing it all out, putting it in the right place, making sure it all still works, it's all wired together. But it'll be cleaner at the end of the day, which is the important thing. Now, there is this issue where we have all these constants here, but they don't belong in main.lua, I would argue. I would argue that they should go in a constants file. So I'm going to go into source, new file, constants.lua. Notice that I lowercased it. That's something that I just do to know that it's not a class. It's a file with separate sort of definitions or variables or whatever. So that's my sort of way that I like to name files. And I'm going to copy all of these constants. I'm just going to put them right in here. And again, they're not going to show up unless I do a require source constants like that. I'm just going to keep my constant variables separate from the library definitions here. And another thing that I actually like to do, just to put everything into its own file and try to keep main as lightweight and clean as possible, I'll actually create a dependencies.lua. And actually, and this is a case where I'm sort of inconsistent. For some reason, I named this capital. I guess because it does have code in it. But for the sake of this stream, I'm just going to call it lowercase dependencies. And I'm going to copy all of these dependencies. I'm going to just say require source/dependencies. And then I'm going to paste all of those in there now. So now we have all of that code at the top of our file has been sort of broken out into different modules. We have our constants here where they belonged in the first place. And they are constants because they're capitalized and they're not going to change. These are all going to be the same. We have our dependencies now, which is anything that's a require essentially, or resources. If we want to load in files, if we were using sprites or sounds or whatever, we would put those in here usually. At least the way that I typically like to make games is we'll put everything in dependencies. Because I sort of almost think of the resources. You could make an argument for creating an assets.lua where you have a separate file for all of the textures, sounds, etc. And that would actually make more sense, arguably. But I generally tend to put them all into dependencies, just they're all in the same place. So it's up to you. As long as you have a way of doing it that is clean and consistent. So yeah, there we go. We have all of those sort of mechanisms in place. And these things can all go outside. They don't have to be at the top level of main.lua. These can actually go here inside of love.load like that. Because this is essentially what love.load is for. We want to use love.load for anything that instantiates things from the very beginning. In this case, we want to create a new grid. And then we're also going to create a tiles table. And there's an argument to be made for the tiles table actually being part of the grid class. We can maybe look at that as an option. And then can move is a flag that we set so that we enable or disable movement depending on tile movement. Essentially so that we can't press two directions really fast and have a tile sort of move diagonally or whatever, because now everything is being tweened. If you remember from the last stream, we actually have everything moving over time. So the tiles are now sliding instead of instantly moving. And we don't want to enable the input essentially while they're moving, while they're in progress. That causes buggy behavior, and it's weird. So this is all good. I actually don't mind the fact that we have move up, move down, move right, move left. Like that's actually a pretty clean API for our code. But the actual implementation of move up, move down, move right, move left is a little bit sloppy. And also there's a lot here that's redundant. Get farthest open X, get leftmost open X, get topmost open Y, get bottommost open Y. I mean, these can belong in the grid class, actually. And there might be a way to clean it up. It's a little bit tricky just given the fact that we would have to specify the -1 step for our loop, depending on where we are going. And actually, I'm not 100% sure if Lua does that automatically. So if I open up Lua and I say, well, actually, I'm going to first clear my console. If I open up Lua and then I say, for I is equal to 5, 1, do print I end. Oh, wait, did that not work? Oh, it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't work. So it doesn't automatically figure out that there's a negative step, which is the issue. And that sort of is dependent on where we are trying to get the leftmost, topmost, bottommost, the closest free space on the grid. So as a result of that, I'm not sure if we can cleanly break these out easily. But at the very least, what we can do is put them into the grid class, right? So if we go over to grid, and bring them down here, like this. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make these grid class functions. I'm going to actually say grid : which means make it a member function of this class so that we can call it on a grid object using : That's what we're allowed to, that's what we're able to do this way. And now what these functions will do is using the grid, they'll actually get the farthest open X, leftmost open X, etc. And it's not super clear, since I'm rereading this right away, what these functions exactly do, which is a problem that is my own because I didn't do a good job documenting. And this is why you write comments, right? We go fast here on stream to try to get things implemented, but we see the repercussions of not being thorough about our commenting. A week later, I'm like, I have to think a little bit about what's actually going on here in the source code. And doing it live obviously adds a little bit of pressure, but as a general principle, you're going to want to be able to do that. You want to be able to read your code easily later by documenting everything as much as you can. It's a blessing for yourself down the line. So yeah, and actually leftmost, topmost, bottommost. I think this should actually be rightmost, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, yeah, it should be rightmost. I was inconsistent with how I opened it. Get rightmost open X. And I'm going to have to change where this is referenced now because farthest isn't a function. So grid is no longer a thing. Grid start white. Now it's self.tiles. So anywhere that I have a grid, I'm going to need to change that to self.tiles. So, and actually the Command D doesn't work with non-capitalized, unfortunately. But using handy dandy multiple cursors in VS Code, I can do that. I can say self.tiles now. And I think that'll actually work pretty well. The only issue is now I need to make sure that in main.lua, I refer to the right function. So move up. So let's see, I think it was farthest, right? Yeah, so this needs to be rightmost, not farthest. And not only that, but now they need to be called using the grid object that we instantiated right up here. This grid here. So previously, get topmost open y was operating on a global grid table. That's no longer the case. Now we are using member functions of this grid class so that we can use these functions on any grid instance, right? So what I can do is I can say over here, grid colon, and over here, grid colon, over here, grid colon, and over here, grid colon. Now that should work. Oh, and then anywhere we have the actual tiles that are being referred to with grid, that won't quite work in the same way because now it has to be grid.tiles at grid yx.tile. But even better than that, we can write a function that'll actually go into our class and pull the tile at a given yx, and therefore we can create a clean interface to getting our information. We don't have to make super easily available the tiles 2D table that we have in the class, right? We can just go to I can define a function called grid get tile at an xy, and this will return self.tiles at yx. And therefore, we don't ever have to go into grid.tiles yx manually anymore. We just call this function, right? And that is correct, right? Yep, that is. So if I go back to main, instead of saying local tile equals grid yx.tile, oh, and actually, I'm realizing, oh, we have to actually grab the tile itself. Yep. So I have to go over here. I have to say .tile, just like that. So now I'm going to go back over here, and I'm going to say grid get tile xy, just like that. So now you can see that we're moving everything towards a more object-oriented approach to programming. This is cleaner. And it's a little bit clearer what we're doing. We're actually getting the tile. The naming of the function helps us a bit, right? And we don't have to know the underlying data structure of our grid class. We defer that to the grid class itself here, where we've defined this new function, getTile. Cool. So we have to do that basically everywhere that we were doing this manual process here. So I say grid getTile xy. And all of this manual stuff, this can probably be put into the grid class, I imagine, which would clean things up just a little bit. Because I think this is actually pretty consistent across. Well, actually, well, yeah. We would essentially pass in the x and the y that we care about as parameters. Would we do that? Yeah, we can do that. So we can say, what would be the cleanest way to do this? First of all, let me just make sure that I have getTile working in all the places. Yeah, right here we need to do it here. So we would do grid getTile xy, like that. And I don't think this is going to work. I think it's broken. Yeah, so this is main 179, which is, what is currently broken here? End expected. Oh, at 156, there's an if that I did not close off. Wait, did I do that? Oh, you know why? We left things half broken here. I remember that actually. I didn't commit these changes, but they are a little bit weird. They're essentially, I put a break in here in the middle. We were in the middle of figuring this out, and so this will be sort of the process as we go along. Give me just 1 second. OK, cool. Yeah, we were in the middle of actually updating all of this last time, and we ran out of time. So hopefully we can figure out what we were doing here and fix it. But we need to spend a bit of time on that. The thing that I really want to take out and abstract into something a little bit cleaner is this chunk of code here. Because if we look at every function, move left, here it's the same thing, right? And then same thing here. It's all the same. Like that code can be abstracted, except for right here. Right here, it's, oh no, right here it's fine. So how are we doing? Let's do it first for move up. Well, actually, what we should do, fix the code, have it run, and then refactor it so we know we're actually working. So, oh, anywhere we have a reference to grid, it's not going to work. Yeah, anywhere we have an index into grid, it's not going to actually work. So what we need to do is, well, we can write a set tile function. Yeah, we could do that. We could write a set tile. Tile.tile y is equal to topmost y. Right, yeah, because the tiles themselves have an index into where they live. Was that necessary? Did we even need to do that? Could we have taken out the tile y field here and just used the fact that they're already in the grid as the information we need? I almost think that we don't need, oh, well, no. Because if we're, oh, no, because we're going through each tile and we're doing a tween and we're moving it depending on where the, yeah, because we're storing all of our tiles in the actual, do we need to do that? Like, can we, I almost feel like we can get rid of this extra tiles table here and just keep track of all the all of the tiles as a result of them living within the tile field on each of these, right? And actually, I mean, there's even an argument to be made for this being like grid cell. This could be like a grid cell class. But we won't, I don't think we'll necessarily worry too much about that because it's literally 4 fields, x, y, occupied, and tile. And occupied is not even something that we really need because occupied relies on tile not being nil. So it's derivable from this. So this is an unnecessary field, right? This is sort of like the consequence of us going a little bit too, kind of doing everything a little bit too fast last time. To answer Bella's question, what does grid colon mean? Grid colon means that when we create an instance of a grid object or grid class, right? So we have this grid class here. So a class is a blueprint. It basically says, here's all the functions and data that makes up what a grid means, the grid object. And in Lua, the colon is a way for you to shorthand. Basically, the way that Lua object-oriented programming works, there are these things called prototypes. It's similar to how JavaScript works. And in a nutshell, you need the colon to be able to pass in self to a function so that that function knows which object to work on. So, oh, True Kinese, yeah, the podcast went up, and I think we didn't mean for it to go live as public. I think we were supposed to just keep it as private or as unlisted for a little bit. But yeah, I do need to go and tweak that. That was an accident. That shouldn't have been released yet, but it was, and therefore we will add the description. Yeah, so the colon is essentially just a way of saying this function belongs to the grid class. Like every grid object is going to have this function, and the colon just allows you to essentially know this self word. It essentially makes that self word meaningful at the end of the day. So you can just get in the habit of writing the colon whenever you create class functions, but you can also create dot functions, and those just won't know the self keyword. That's the only thing. Bad Ignite Podcast 3 is technically not supposed to be out, but it is. It's already on Spotify and iTunes, and we were just going to do like an official release of it at some point. But yeah, it's on YouTube. It was supposed to be unlisted, but it's public. So feel free to watch it. I think True Kinese plugged it in there as well. Yeah, happy accident. Yeah, definitely happy accident. Okay, so that's how the grid class, the colon, works in Lua. And where do we leave off? So again, I don't know how long this is going to take. I'm going to try to finish this up in the 3 hours that we have. But there's a lot of work and there's a lot to be done on the fly. This is all done live and on the fly. So we might do a part 3 next week. Just as an FYI, just as a disclaimer, rather. Depends on how competent I can be today. I'm a little tired, so we'll see if I can pull it through. The thing that we need to fix before we can do any of this other stuff really is this code here. And I actually don't remember what we were doing. So there's a break here. The break, what was the purpose of the break? The break's purpose in life. Oh, we were trying to implement like numbers combining together. Yeah. So let's break, maybe. Can I break like that? And then if end, and then we have an end, right? Is everything, and then if, it's an end too. So is this broken? Oh, okay. So that's fixed now. It was the break that was causing issues. So we forgot to add grid to our dependencies. So let's do that. So I'm going to say require source grid and require source tile. I like to keep things alphabetized. David likes to do this as well. I think it's a good practice. That way it's easy to look through your dependencies list, especially when it gets very large, and immediately know whether you're missing something or not. And that's essentially why I like to keep everything alphabetized. Notice that C, G, T, and then even within the library dependencies, these themselves, class and then timer. So those are even alphabetized within themselves. So this is working now, right? Class needs to be required, which it is. Oh, that's strange. Oh, right. These need to be declared before these. Yeah. Because these rely on class existing. So if class doesn't exist as a global, it doesn't matter. Add some comments. Oh, I will. Don't worry. Grid line 12, bat argument to insert. Table expected got nil. So grid on line 12. Let's see here. Oh, right, because we're not using grid anymore. We're using self.tiles, right? So there we go. Self.tiles. Perfect. Main 207, index a nil value, which is, yep, right here. Oh, so this is perfect. So this takes us then to taking out the rendering feature of our grid. We're going to put that into the class now. So we take that out of Lua, and we just do grid render like that, right? Just like that. Pretty nice. And then we're going to go ahead down here into render. And I'm just going to paste that, well, just like that. The draw grid, it's extra. It's unnecessary commenting. We don't need that. And then grid needs to be turned into self.tiles, right? So self.tiles, just like that. And does that work? OK, 206 now to pairs. OK. OK, here we go. Oh, tiles doesn't exist anymore. Oh, right. Yeah, we actually don't need. This will be in grid 2. Wow, look at how clean that is now. So we're going to put this down right here. And we no longer have a grid of tiles, which means I'm realizing now that when we do a tween operation from one tile to another index, that tile is going to override that tile. But they're both going to be set to that grid index, I think, internally. And so, do I want to maintain the list of tiles in here? I'm actually not sure. I'm not sure what the best way to do this would be. So I think, in theory, everything is. OK, well, let's look at 2048 game by itself. Let's see how fast the actual combination happens, right? So if I do this, so if I go down, OK, so it like blends into it, underneath it, and then they combine into one number. OK, that's interesting. So I wonder then if. Oh, actually, what happens if they both move together? So, OK, it doesn't look like it doesn't really matter. I don't think the ordering really matters that much. I think the important thing is that the tween happens. The tween should happen. And then as soon as the tweens have both finished, then the number that's currently at that index gets updated to whatever number. So if it's 2 and 2, when both of the tweens finish, or honestly, whenever one of them finishes, because they all happen at the same length of time, then whatever tile is at that index should get its number changed to its value times 2. So, and when that also happens, then we need to clear out the old tile. So how are we doing that before? Because that's important, right? We can no longer have 2 tiles when we do the tween operation. We need to mix them together, and then only 1 tile needs to live there after that. So we need to actually set one of them to nil or discard them or something. Which is interesting. It's an interesting complication. Something to be aware of. Now, so this is an argument to be made then for having a tiles grid, a tiles table that keeps track of all the individual tiles. Yeah. That might need to happen. Okay. So do we then maintain our list, a reference to it within the grid? We already have self.tiles, and that's equal to the grid. That's the grid tiles. So would we therefore have a list of would we therefore redefine tiles to be equal to the list of the tiles? So Bavik, we're currently not using a stack because we're doing this operation multiple times. It's not a stack-based game architecture. Because you could have multiple tiles and multiple rows moving and combining at the same time. So you need to essentially iterate over your entire list of tiles, your tile objects, move them depending on which direction you move the keyboard. And then you could have multiple tweens that therefore happen and finish at the same time that operate that way. And therefore, you're taking away. I don't think we need stacks, though. I don't think that's the solution here. Unless I'm not seeing it, but to me, this does not look like a stack-based game. It doesn't look like a stack really. If we tried to make it stack-based, I think this would complicate things more than it would actually fix everything. Hey, how's it going? Everybody say hello.
Hey everyone, just wanted to say a quick hello.
DJM.
Good to see you in person. I saw everyone on the stream a little bit ago.
In case anybody is unfamiliar who's brand new, this is David Malin, teaches CS50, and you can find our videos at youtube.com/CS50. Check out the lectures.
All right, well thanks. I'm looking forward to seeing the game all come together.
I think there's pizza out there, right?
Oh, well, there will be eventually, but Colton's in here for a while, so no pizza for you.
That's okay, I'll starve myself.
But a colleague of mine really likes this game. It was very addictive here in the US for quite a while.
Oh yeah, this is pretty popular. I think it's lost a little bit of its fizz, but I think 2013, 2014, was that?
Yeah, it's kind of like Scramble, when we had a problem set in CS50 on Scramble, but I'll leave you to it. But good to see everyone. See you back on stream.
Cool, thanks for popping in. But yeah, the stack-based approach to it, I don't think that's how I would solve it. And I think if we tried to make it stack-based, that would actually complicate the architecture more than it's worth. So really, it's tweening up to 2 items to the same tile, and then grabbing one of them. It'll only ever be 2 always, I think. Well, actually, this does cause issues when we have 3 tiles moving together, I just realized. Oh, I see. So we avoid the issue of the stacking number combination if we set the number immediately but don't update the actual string until the tween is finished. That would solve that problem. Well, I think the first thing to do, well, actually we have it working now, which is great. It's awesome. We have no numbers though, which is also unfortunate. I I took out the logic for actually drawing the grid tiles. And I put that here into the grid.lua class. But I didn't save it. I did save main, though. Now, what we're deciding on is a structure for storing our tiles. Previously, we were doing it in a separate one-dimensional table, which I think is fine. I think it's fine. And we just make it a member of this grid, right? So it almost becomes like a game board class more than a grid, because it actually contains some logic, quite a bit. Oh, do we need the, I think this can actually be in grid render too. Yeah, I think this can actually go into the grid render. Yeah. So we'll do that. We'll put this right up here. Just like that. Make our main.lua ever smaller. That should be honestly one of our big goals. Make main.lua super small. That way we can more easily defer functionality to submodules, and that simplifies everything quite a bit. Now, I'm going to save this. Come over here to grid.lua again, and this essentially is what needs to change. And the tiles need to be constructed appropriately. So self.tiles ultimately needs to be turned into self.grid. That's just what needs to happen. No longer are we using that to store the, this as well. Self.tiles needs to be self.grid. So therefore, now self.grid is going to be a reference to our actual grid. The grid is the background and where it's going to store references to the tiles as they exist. The actual tiles are going to be stored in self.tiles. Just like that. And now what we do here is pairs self.tiles like that. And now it should render, grid 83, render index a nil value. Oh, right. This needs to be set to self.grid. Like that. Right? Yes. Cool. So our grid is working, which is great. That's all back to normal after our refactor, which was a big deal. Now we need to actually instantiate our tiles correctly. So we've deferred all of our rendering to love.draw, which is cool. That's awesome. Now we defer the construction of our, oh wait, where did I put the, oh, did I forget to, I think I copied out the tiles that I instantiated and I forgot to actually paste them, so it got deleted. So I'm going to go back to the repo here, up to the top, and then grab these. Thank goodness for GitHub though, right? Or Git generally speaking. I'm going to go here, and this can be part of the grid constructor, honestly. So we'll eventually create a function for this called create tile at, so it'll be something like this. It'll be like, what would it be? I guess it would be like self create tile at XY, something like that. This would be a good API. And then what this would essentially boil down to is function grid create tile at XY. And we would take this code here, like that. Do this, whoops. And then we would take in tile x is going to be equal to x. Am I right? How is this currently working? Oh, right, because these get set, the tile x's get set to whatever the grid x is. That makes sense. Yeah. So this is all separate. So this actually kind of needs to be split out into two different parts. So what essentially this is going to boil down to is table.insert into self.tiles. We're going to add a new tile object, and it's going to be just like that. And then it's going to be assigned to, we're going to give it a tile x. Well, it's going to be xy, and then self.grid yx dot x, and self.grid at yx.y. So this will be the actual creation of the tile, right? So now we no longer have a, like this part is kind of different now. And actually this tile itself, like now the tiles are no longer just tables, now they're actual objects. Sorry for this question, looking to get into programming, etc. Been my whole life on Windows. Do you think programming on a Mac is better or more suitable for people who want to really improve in the field? If so, which laptop specifically would you recommend? Thanks a lot. Says Reformed Senpai. I don't think it matters terribly whether you're using a Windows or a Mac or a Linux machine. I think the important thing is that you understand how to program. And you can do that on any computer. That's universally accessible. Mac is nice just because it's got a nice interface. It's pretty easy to get up and running in a dev environment. It's a Linux-based, Linux-style operating system. So a lot of the answers that you would be seeking for, a lot of common development operations are like on Stack Overflow or whatnot. It's going to work for your Mac just because it's going to be similar to Linux. It's a very streamlined workflow, I think, relative to Windows. But you can do. I've programmed on a Windows a lot, and you can do the same thing that you can do in Windows with the on a Mac. Or you can do the same thing that you can do on a Mac on a Windows machine. They are primarily at parity, like largely the same. But yes, to Colton's Harris point, that name still kills me. On Mac, you have the ability to code specifically for Apple platforms, which is something that I think you can still do on a Windows machine, but it's not easy. It's not straightforward. And on a Mac, you can code for the Mono framework, which is a Windows only, was Windows only for a while, sort of thing. No, Mono's been around for a long time. Mono is the project that allows .NET to work on Mac. That's what it is. And it's pretty cool. You can do a lot of cool things. That's how Unity does a lot of its, gets a lot of its work done. Hello, Remote. Good to see you. And yeah, anyways, we were at the part of trying to simplify our API here just a little bit, our code generally speaking. Now, what I wanted to do was say something like this, 1, 1, and then 2, 1, 1, 2, oh, whoops, and 2, 2, whoops. Which is all of these since these are 4 lines that are like largely the same, we can turn that into a function, self-create tile, and that's what we'll end up doing. And those will add to self.tiles within them. So it's pretty stateful. It's not very functional, which is unfortunate, but Lua is not, I think, optimized to be a functional language, so it's kind of, it's not like it's not designed first and foremost for that. You can still get it to work that way, it's fine, but let me see. What we need to do is finish this actually, which I did here. So we added into tiles a new tile at xy with a self.grid yx.x and self.grid yx.y, which is good. That's cool. So this takes in, therefore, a tile x, a tile y, and then a positional x and a positional y. We know that. So here in my tile constructor, I'm going to say tile x, tile y, and then a regular x and a y. And then we'll say self.tile x is equal to tile x, self.tile y is equal to tile y, self.x is equal to x, and self.y is equal to y. Cool, awesome. And then we're going to, that's fine. We don't need these anymore. And self.grid at yx can be set to, oh, actually no, we'll do self set tile at xy. Oh, did I actually mess up that API too? The set tile? Where did I actually call that? I created that function, right? Did I not? Set tile, right? Somewhere? Oh, I thought I did. Well, anyway, should be xy and then it should be tile, but we messed that up. So we need to actually do local tile is equal to this whole thing. And then self dot set tile to that. What that'll do then is, oh, and then what we can do is we can do a table dot insert self dot tiles tile. Cool. I think that's good, right? And then set tile xy tile. We would do self dot grid yx dot tile is equal to tile. Self dot grid yx dot occupied is equal to true. And we have these up here, right? Yeah. So we don't need any of these anymore. I think these are all done. Cool. So I think that's been good, right? So here's the cool thing. Now that we have this create tile function, we can actually like set these to random values and do this in our code at arbitrary points. So this is pretty cool, right? What are your recommendations for Mac machines? MacBook Pro 13, maybe Windows the X1 Carbon 14 inches, isn't that bad? I don't know a lot about Windows laptops. I use a MacBook Pro for work. I think they're awesome. I personally would not want to code on a MacBook Air since they're a little bit slower. I'd want a MacBook Pro, but they're expensive, so it's up to you. But you can probably find a $1,000 or so refurbished MacBook Pro from like 2015 or 2016, and that should be pretty good for your needs for a long time, I would say. All right, cool. So now we have a create tile and a set tile function. So one is different than the other. So obviously set tile is going to be important when we want to change which one's set to a given point. Create tile defers to set tile, but also adds a new tile to our list. So this is cool. This is helpful. Now if I run this, will it work? Nope. Grid 31. We have an error. So where is that? Grid line 31. Did I mess something up here? What did I mess up? Unexpected symbol near the closing parenthesis on 31. Really? How did that happen? Oh wait, do I even need this? Oh wait, no, grid, not main. What am I doing? Grid 31. Oh. Yes. Unnecessary parenthesis. Okay, attempt to index a nil value at 31. Ah, okay. Interesting. Oh, right. Because we are... Wait, that should work, right? A yx dot x. Oh, wait, no, because the grid... Oh, wait, no, but we did do that, right? What's this? This is what this whole thing does. Oh, but this needs to happen before all of that happens. Right, okay. So I'm going to call a function called initializeGrid, and I'm going to write it right here. Notice that I'm sort of finding blocks of code and bringing it into smaller functions. That is an important thing to do. This needs to go up above all of this stuff. Like that. Cool, that works. 114 on the grid. Okay, so this is good. So we're getting closer to actually having this run. So self.tiles, okay. Oh, are we not setting a number on the tile? Ah, we need to do that as well, yes. So self.num is going to be equal to 2 by default. Because when it gets constructed, that's its number. It's going to be 2, right? Awesome, there we go. So I can't move now. Unfortunately, we have to work on the actual movement stuff, but that's cool. We refactored, and now we have the grid and the tiles all rendering, and everything is starting to look quite a bit cleaner in a lot of places. I could actually probably delegate the rendering of the tile to this, like here, right? And then I would say tile render, like that. And then over here in this, I'll paste all of this code. Now I think this should work, right? Will this work? Except tile won't be tile, it'll be self. And same for right here, this will be self. Okay. I think that'll work, right? So if I rerun it, will it work? Yep, awesome. So again, I took some of the code out of the grid.lua class and I put it into a smaller function. So super helpful. Super helpful, I mean. Okay, sweet. So you could make an argument for maybe even doing that with this, but it's only 2 lines, not a big deal. Now we have to get into the harder stuff, which is the actual movement. The movement needs to be fixed. It is messy. Now this is clean. I like this. The key pressed, all this stuff, this is all good stuff. Yeah, Bavik, that's a good suggestion. We can definitely do that too. That's like one of the refinements that we worry about at the end once everything is working. Right now we want to worry about actually getting it to work and getting the number movement and stuff like that. But that is a good idea. Having a color map is a clean way of approaching avoiding having to index magic numbers. You would just store RGBA components in tables in a larger table, right? You'd use subtables. So okay, these movement functions are what needs to update, what needs to get, and really it's this too. Like this needs to be extracted out into a function. So it would be something like grid colon, what would it be? It'd be like so what we're doing is we are setting the Y of the tile, topmost Y. And then we are going into the grid, setting a grid at a particular XY to tile and occupied to true, and then setting the old one to occupied and false. So it would be something like, well, I guess we could use set tile, right? We would use set tile at x tile.tile y, and then tile, like that, right? So this would replace this. And then we'd also want a grid clear tile at xy. And we haven't written that function yet, but that'll take the place of this, right? And this will be specifically x and old y in this case. So we can copy that. Whoops. So let's go over to grid. And I'm going to save this. I'm going to create a function called clear tile. At xy. And what essentially has to happen, yeah, is we take the old, it's not old y anymore, it's just y. And we just do that. We just do the equals null and then equals occupied is equal to false. And this approach to small functions is super nice. And that's another core component of, and we're not doing it today, but functional programming really goes by small functions, just because you then sort of create this language that you're able to piece together and make more complicated, large-scale things happen with very simple code, very simple statements, and combinations of those statements. So it's pretty neat. We can do that for these other locations. So this will be tile.tile y. So this will be grid set tile at x tile.tile y to what's it called? Tile. Right? Get rid of that. And then grid clear tile at x old y. Clear all that. Perfect. Do it here as well. Now this time it's on the x, on the y. This is a little bit different. So we do grid set tile at tile.tilex and y to tile. We remove these two lines of code, just like that. And then we say grid clear tile at old x and y. Boom. And then this is a little bit more complicated. We were doing some stuff here. This is where we were getting fancy with combining the like terms, actually. And we were doing it with move right. So that could be our first example, actually. That's kind of perfect. Global tile, tile line 25. Where is that? Oh, right. We need not tile.y, we need self.y. Self.y. There we go. Perfect. Cool. So we decided we were going to do the actual movement of the tiles and the combination of their terms with the moving right first, which requires us to sort of look to the left and find the closest available empty spot. And then, oh, actually, no, we're moving from the right forward. We're starting at the tile, and then we're moving right, and then we're just sort of moving it that way. Yeah, so we want to move this tile here first, and then this tile will move here as well, but it would also do a check, and it would say, is the tile I'm colliding with the same number as me? And if it is, then after I actually tween, after I finish the tween operation, I want to set myself to, I want to override that tile, which would get rid of the old tile, essentially. And then I want to set this tile to be equal to the number times 2 that this is. Just add it to the number, essentially, which will be multiplied by 2. So if we go back to main, and then we figure this out. So also, I need to figure out if I can move right. No, I can't. Main 135. Yeah, that's what this is. So I currently cannot move right anyway. But we can fix this. So grid yx is not a thing anymore. So what I need to do is I need to say grid get tile at xy. So grid get tile at xy. We changed our API a little bit. I don't need to print the tile for right now. It's unnecessary. So now can I move right? No, I cannot move right. So our loop is still messed up. And let's go ahead and get rid of this as well. I don't need this print statement. So this is all a jumble of stuff. Okay. So we're going to get the, so we're starting from top to bottom. We're going y down to 4. We're starting at 3, 1, negative 1. Right, because we want to see, we want to check each tile starting from the right-hand side if it's able to move to the right. And we're not starting at 4 because 4 can't move to the right. It's impossible. It's already at the right edge of the screen. That's why we're starting here, right? So I'll comment that. I'll say start 1 from the right because it can't, because edge tile can't move, right? So we're getting that tile. We're getting the tile at xy, which in this case, theoretically, when we run this program, this should be the tile that we get. It should be at index 2, x2, y1. That should be whatever this tile is. And then we want to move this over here. And then the same thing will happen. The loop will continue, and it'll grab this tile. And in the process of moving this tile here, this tile should get set to nil. When this tile gets set to nil, we'll be able to move over here, eventually detect a collision with this tile, and that's where we need to trigger the combination. Once we trigger the combination there, we can combine the terms, and we'll have succeeded at that, which would be cool. It is 1:09, so we have about 2 hours left, which is good. We've already made quite a good bit of refactoring here, which is nice. Okay, so if we did get a tile, which we should, then the farthest x, right, the farthest x towards the right-hand side of the screen, we're going to do grid get rightmost open x, right, the farthest that we can move. Okay. Cool. So grab farthest open tile we can move to. Some of these are going to become somewhat obvious, but rather than writing fewer comments, we'll err on the side of writing more comments, just so that we're 100% clear about what's going on. So farthest x is going to be equal to this return value. So I'm going to print this, print farthest x actually. And then I'm going to run the, are we in the right file? Yeah, I'm going to actually run the code here. I'm going to move right, hit escape. Right, should have printed, it printed 4.1 and then 4.1. Oh, okay. Is there another print here? Oh, it printed 4.1 because 2 rows. There are 2 rows. So it's actually getting, okay, so farthest x, it's getting 4 and then 1, which is interesting because it's actually detecting itself, which is not the behavior I would have expected. 4.1 and then 4, these are the same, so we're getting the same value. So we're getting farthest x to the right as 4 for this, and then 1 for this, which is not what we want. This should actually be 4 and then 3. So that's broken. Oh, because we're not clearing the tile, right? Yeah, that's why. Yeah, that's why. We need to clear the tile. So we need to do grid old x, y. Grid clear tile old x, y. Does that fix it? Oh, I need to actually run it with love. 4.1, no, it's still 4.1.4.1. Okay. That is all right. There's probably more in here that needs to be adjusted. And we are directly indexing grid, which is also not what we want to do. This would be grid get tile farthest x plus 1 y dot num. Not this. We can't index into the grid like this. So what we need to do instead is, it's weird that it's not even throwing an error. I would have expected to throw an error, but anyway. We'll do local farthest tile is going to be equal to grid get tile at farthest x plus 1. Wait, is that what we want to do? Farthest x is getting us, oh, right, well, yeah, because if it's less than 4, yeah, that'll be fine. Farthest x plus 1 and y, like that. And then we can say if farthest tile.num is equal to tile num. Let's try that. Does that help anything? Do the numbers change with that? Nope, still 4.1.4.1. Okay. Oh, because of all this, I think it's because of all this. Oh, is it because of all this stuff? Well, anyway, this needs to be fixed. So we need to say grid set tile at tile.tile x and y to be equal to tile. Get rid of these 2 lines of code. And then grid clear tile at old x, y. Get rid of that. Wherever we can clean up those repetitive blocks of code is better. This is cool. There's a lot of these tweens that are very similar too. There might be an avenue there that we can actually refactor things out. Okay, does that? Oh, and you know what? This is another problem too. The tweens all operate off of the grid table, not the grid tiles, which is interesting. Okay. So in that case, we grab not the grid. We would do grid dot. It would be grid.grid at this point, because this grid is what actually contains the grid information. The sort of the tiles and their positions, that's all stored at grid. Now it's grid.grid. So I can do that. Because we do actually care about grid.grid in this case, because something like that. Because it's a we're trying to get the position data for where the actual tiles are on the map, and those are all stored and calculated in advance at in grid.grid. Same with this. But this, we can set the number, right? Can we do that? We could do a set number in this case. Or we could just say grid dot, I could just do grid dot tiles in this case. And then tile is set to nil. Oh, right, this tile is set to nil. Oh, interesting. Okay. So it gets rid of it. I wonder if that'll actually work. It's part of the process of getting used to everything again. Oh, and farthest x is up here. Grid right, get rightmost open x. Oh, that might actually need to be fixed too. Get rightmost open x. Let's see if that actually works. That looks correct. Self.grid. Yeah, which is what we needed to do. So if I run it and I'm trying to move right, no, it still doesn't work. It's still getting 4141. Okay. It's not moving him though. Oh. Wait, yeah, no, I'm drawing the tiles correctly. I was gonna say if maybe we're drawing the tiles themselves incorrectly, but no, oh wait. The tiles themselves need to be, oh, they're objects. They're not tables anymore. But that shouldn't be a huge deal. Unless we're creating new tile. Yeah, because we're grabbing the tiles from the grid, right? So for here, I say local tile is equal to the get tile at xy. Move the tile if it exists, right? Which is what we're doing. We're getting this far. The tile is moving, theoretically. And we're getting farthest x, but it's always 4, 1. And actually, get rightmost open x isn't correct if it's not correct if it's returning 4. It should be returning. Oh wait, no, that's true. No, that's correct actually, because the tile is open at index 4 when we start here. Now that's working properly. Why the other one's not working, I'm not sure. We are moving backwards, right? Yeah, we are moving backwards. So are we not clearing the tile correctly? You would think we would be. Yeah, we have set tile and clear tile working in here. Okay. Let's go through this step by step. The tween isn't working, which is a problem. Yep, and these should work. The grid does have the x and y value start at grid.grid. Can move is true. Grid.tiles at tiles y, tile x.num is equal to tile.num times 2. Yep, that's great. The tile is equal to nil. Oh, I see. Okay. But we don't want to, okay. Yeah, we don't want to combine like numbers here yet. So this is where we are getting stuck, I think. So we're getting farthest x, right? Yep, farthest x. Okay. So we're setting the tile then to tile.tile at, wait. What tile are we actually doing? Yeah, we're doing that, right? And this, I mean, even this should work. The using tile as the, in the timer definition. So you put in an object here. It can be a table or it can be a class object, an actual instance. And you can index a field off of it. So in this case, x and y. Oh, wait. This would make, yeah, this would make sense. So this needs to be then grid.grid again. Okay. Will this work? No, that still doesn't work. So still getting 4141. Shoot, why is that not working? Okay. If farthest, oh, because if farthest x is less than 4. Oh, but we're not actually moving in the event that it is less than 4. Oh, I see. And then because the other tile is hitting a block at 1, right? It's not, yeah, it's not working. Okay, that makes sense. Yep, that makes total sense. Okay. Is it 2048 from scratch or try not to cry? I don't understand. It's a little bit of both right now. Okay, so farthest x. I'm just trying to figure out, because what we need to do is essentially make this run regardless. Which would, I think, mean that we do... But why are we doing... Why are we checking for... Okay, so if farthest x is not equal to x, which is our... Oh, that's our current x. Okay, so if the tile we're moving to is not the same, right? Because we can't tween to the same tile. That doesn't make sense, right? Why are we doing it less than 4? Farthest x is less than 4. I mean, if I did less than or equal to 4 and then I did this, would it work? Nope, index of no value, line 51. Where is that? Yx? Get tile at Yx? Wait, where is that being referenced from? That's being referenced from 153, which is here. Farthest x. Oh! Right. Just trying to think here, what would be the cleanest way to do this? So right now the issue is that farthest x is getting assigned the value 4 sometimes because that's the closest or the farthest open x value that it can move to. But I want to check what it collides up against. So what we do then is we say, what would we do? How would we do that? We would say, well, if farthest x is not equal to x, then that means that we're not going to be testing ourselves anyway, which is fine. That's the nearest open spot. So what we need to do is essentially prevent a number check if we collide against the right edge of the screen or the upper bounds, right? So it's really this that needs to be conditionalized. Well, no, that's not true. Really, it's just the... Well, yeah, it actually does need to be conditionalized for... Yeah, because I feel like this whole check can be gone. This can, yeah, this can just be gone, right? And then all of this can be tabbed backwards, just like that. And we only check this. We only do this code if we are, we essentially skip over this code if we're at the right edge. So I'll do, I mean, the easiest thing to do would be yeah, we skip the whole thing altogether. Yeah, that's right. So if farthest x is equal to 4, just as an easy thing here, or is rather is less than 4, then we can put all of that into a thing. And then otherwise we do, and then we just do all of this stuff, right? Actually, we want it to be an else. Shoot, do we want it to be an else? Oh, right, that's where we were breaking so that we don't prevent the next, right, okay, yep. So we don't, okay, yeah. Yeah, combine like numbers, only allow if we are not at right edge, right? And then what we can do here is we say, if this all happens or whatever, we just break. We break from the for loop, which is, yeah, this x. Well, actually, we don't want to break from this for loop. We want to continue the loop, don't we? Yeah. So what we do is then we say, we have to do go to continue, and then I have to define continue down here. So this is a feature of Lua which allows you to actually create continue statements, because there aren't continue statements in Lua. There are just breaks. So skip movement, skip normal movement or non-combination movement below. This happens, just move over as normal if not combining terms, right? So now, again, it's broken. Grid 35, which is clear tile. Okay, let's see where that is. Oh, that got referenced from where? Main 180? Oh, I see, okay. Oh, hello there, I teach hacking and stuff, but I teach in Urdu. Live coding takes guts. I was thinking of coding live to teach people in Pakistan, but I was kind of nervous that what would people think if I get stuck somewhere. I just got stuck. I get stuck all the time. It's normal. I think that getting stuck and understanding how to get through things and like working through it is a valuable skill. And that's kind of the reason why I could have jumped into this with pre-created code. It would have taken more time. And that would have been fine. But I think this is it's also an opportunity for like people to provide, I guess, their thoughts on how to maybe approach the problem. Some folks in the chat previously have done that, and I thought that was super fun and super cool. It gets people thinking a little bit more about how to solve problems, I think. And maybe psychologically, all of you seeing me struggle makes you desperately want to get to the text editor yourself and implement something because you could do a better job than me. Maybe that's how it works. I think for the gaming, I think that definitely works a lot of the time. You see somebody playing a game, and they're doing just a horrible job, and you really want to play the game yourself because you know that you could do better. You just really want to play. I feel like that's such a good selling technique for games. So maybe it translates to this. I don't know. Or maybe everybody is just frustrated that I'm taking my time on this. But we'll see. Hopefully we can get this done. Again, like I said, I don't know if we'll, given 3 hours. Because these are in 3-hour blocks, they're spontaneous. It's all unplanned. And it's a somewhat complicated game. We might have a little bit of difficulty in finishing it in 2 sessions, but we'll try our best. Teaching hacking is good for security? Yeah, teaching hacking is good for security. You want to teach ethical hacking. You want to make sure that people do things and respect the data of other people. But testing for vulnerabilities is, I think that's a good skill to have. I'm not good at it at all, but Nick Wong, who's been on stream before, he's super good at that kind of thing. And knowing how all of that works, I think, makes you a more literate human in the digital age. So it's super, super useful. I think teaching hacking is an awesome thing. However, I myself do not know a lot about hacking. So if you're going to use me as a resource on that, I would probably suggest not doing so. But if you want programming assistance or whatnot, or you know, I think that I might have a little bit better luck with. OK, so what's the problem with this? Why is this not working properly? I'm getting a null issue here. So whenever I move to the right, attempt to index a nil value at clear tile. Specifically for old x and y, which is interesting. Getting the old x from the tile that we grabbed, which it should have a value, right? Yeah? And then, yeah, we're clearing the tile, old x and y. Did I write the function wrong? X and y. Yeah, grid y, x. Yep, this is accurate. This is true. This is correct. Yeah, Gen Hacks, do whatever you want. If you feel like teaching hacking, don't really worry about it. You know, just kind of do your thing. You learn a lot from yourself from teaching other people, too. But why the heck is this not working? Clear tile. We did it, right? We set all the tiles. OK, so if I run this in LÖVE, and then I print out, let's say if I'll just print out old x and y right here. Yeah, I'll print old x and y like this. And then I'll run this in LÖVE. OK, it's 2 and 1. Yeah. Oh. Wait, set tile. Is that causing issues? No. Oh. Wait, yeah, no, that's correct. Yeah, setting it to the tile, setting occupied to true. Damn, I thought I had it for a second there. I did not. OK, let's see. I wonder if there's, it would be cool if there was a way to abstract this out into a separate function, and then abstract this out into a separate function. Whoops. Well, the continue part kind of makes that hard, but. Shoot, what is the problem here? Attempt to index, and it's trying to index a nil value. So, it is continuing, right? If I print continue here, will it? Go to continue jumps into the scope of local old x. What? Never seen that error. Oh, because I think continue has to happen at the end of the function. Yeah, so if I were to say print continue, does that actually work? No, it's not printing continue. Okay. Yeah, so I think this has to be at the bottom. I think if this isn't at the bottom, it causes weird issues like that, because it's like you're still in a scope. And I guess it wants to prevent against weird go-to behavior. Spaghetti code. You can also get rid of all that so you can see the code a little bit better. I apologize for that. Do more hackers have caps lock issues? Says Martin. The shade has been thrown. Farthest x, why is this? Okay. Why the heck is this not working? If farthest x is not equal to x, yeah. Well, let's do more debugging. We'll say not equal. Okay, so it's getting into there. It's getting into here, which is good. And then is it still 4-1? Oh, it's 4-0. Wait, what? What is, oh, because it's farthest x, right? Yeah. What we're printing down here is the old x and y, which is actually, that's accurate, yeah, because it's at 2-1, and then we're going over to 4-1. But why can't I clear it? Why can't I clear it? Let's redo this again. Attempt to index a no value, grid 35. Now, is that referring to, it's index a no value. So it's not saying that undefined, it doesn't have the field tile. It's saying that we're trying to index a no value. Oh, is grid y? Oh, that's what it is. I'm silly. It's self.grid. Oh man, that's painful. That hurts. That was horrible. Yep, remember to do that. Remember to set self.grid. I was racking my brain. I was like, what is happening? Yeah, see, it moves now. It's just there's an issue. Oh. Was there somebody say something bad, something nasty? I missed that. The caps wasn't it didn't seem like a problem. It just seemed that they were very enthusiastic. Oh man, I can't believe, such a stupid bug. Okay, 165, main 165. Grid.tiles. Wait, what was the problem? Attempt to index a null value. 165. Okay. Grid.tiles. Is that not a thing? Also, why is this running? Oh, wait. Oh, that's what we want. Oh, holy crap. That's really good. Okay. No, that's awesome. Okay. That's a good sign. That means we're actually detecting the combination. Oh, wow. This could be good. We might be getting close. And then we just have to like duplicate this functionality for move right, move up, down, left. Man, this is a long function. This is painful. We need to find a way to abstract this out, if possible. Is there a way to do that easily in this? Can I abstract the pattern out from this? I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think. I mean, maybe with a lot of finagling, but I'm not sure. Oh yeah, no, they were just super excited, Kines. They weren't being offensive or anything. They were actually being very respectful. So I don't know. We'll see what they say when they get back. But they seemed good. They seemed nice. They just decided to use all caps for everything, which was a little interesting, but not a problem. Okay. 165 is the problem, which is this. Grid.tiles at tile y, tile x.num. Tile is equal to nil. Oh. Where's tile? Oh, right, because tile, oh, right, because we're getting tile up here. That's the, wait, but that's the tile that we are moving in. Oh, oh, right, we're just getting rid of tile, but we're getting rid of tile, but we're keeping the existing tile at the end and just changing the number of that in place. Okay, that makes sense. However, it's not seemingly working. So if I do a print of tile.tile y and tile.tile x, will it work? Maybe. 2, 4. Wait, shouldn't it be 1, 4? And 2, 4? Why are we not getting the 1, 4? Well, first of all, let me get rid of this. And then we'll say, oh, because we're doing yx. Whoops. X will be tile.tilex. And then y will be tile.tiley, like that. Let's try that. Whoops, let me run this with love, the command line, so I get the terminal output. And then we get 4, 2. 4, 2, but not 4, 1. Why not 4, 1? It's the same. Oh, you know why? Because this is just the first one it's happening on. And then this is getting called and breaking. And then this one will happen right after that, but it doesn't happen in time. Yeah, that's what's happening. They're not happening at parallel, they're happening sequentially. So that's actually normal. This is a problem. Grid tiles at tile y, tile x dot num. But why? Grid.tiles. Right? That's a thing, right? Grid.tiles. Oh, because we're not storing it as a, it's still a one-dimensional grid of tiles. Yeah, that's why. So this needs to be grid.grid dot, well, what we would do is we would say local tile is equal to, can we do this? Can we say grid get tile at tile.tilex, tile.tiley.num is equal to tile.num times 2? Can we do that? That should work, right? Whoa! It works! Oh, man. Oh, that feels good. That was mental. That was mental. I don't even know. Brain dead. Ah, that's cool. Okay. I always get a thrill when I see that kind of thing kind of just happen after so much struggle. Now all we have to do is make it work for every I can't even talk. We just have to make it happen for every direction. So, oh man, this is painful though. Holy crap. Oh, jeez. I wish I could have made turned this into a function, right? I guess I could have. Well, no, because you flip the iteration depending on which direction you're moving. Oof. We might just have to do this. We might just have to be messy about this and give this the old copy and paste. We'll replace move left first. Oh, that felt nice. That was great. I'm so happy. I was worried. It's going to take us about 37 years, but okay. Hopefully not. Hopefully not that long. That's a long time. Let's see. This will be 1 to... this will be... how do we do this? If we're moving left, then we want to start at 2. Work our way over to 4. Now, oh, and then this needs to be leftmost. And then leftmost, which one, what did that have as a signature? Leftmost open X is start X, start Y, finish. Oh, right, okay. I think that should, oh, shoot, I don't remember. Oh, right, no, we're going to 1. Yeah, that's what it is. And then this needs to be if we're greater than 2, right? Or 1. Yeah, 1. That's what it is. This needs to be minus. And then this is minus. Will that work? So I go that and then that. Oh, I can't move left. Oh, that's weird. Oh, because I'm going 2, 4, negative 1. What? Oh, that's weird. The 2s are still there from before. Huh. Oh, because are they still assigned to that? They're still being rendered? Oh, you know what? I think they might still be being rendered in the grid class. There's still tiles in here. So I need to remove them from tiles, actually. Oh, wow. How would we do such a thing? I'm about to enter college majoring in cybersecurity and analytics and operations. Will there ever be a live stream about it, like ethical hacking, finding vulnerabilities? We've done a bunch of those, Burnsport too. We did a few with Nick Wong. So look at any of the CTF streams. Those are pretty cool. Those, we talked a lot about that. Okay. So I think we're still maintaining a reference to the old tiles in here. And that's not good. We have to get rid of those. Now, what's the way to do that? Excuse me. Oh, we could flag it for removal. We could add a flag that says remove, and then, yeah, that way we would just look over, we would essentially do a loop every time. Yeah, it would be like, it'd be something like function grid remove deleted tiles. And we would essentially say for blank tile in pairs of self.tiles, do if tile dot, well, actually, no, we would do this. We would say for index in I pairs of self.tiles. We would say if tile dot remove, then table dot remove self dot tiles index. I think that's how table dot remove works. I'm gonna have to verify that. Table remove Lua. Table remove A. Oh, you can pass an index. Okay. Okay, that should work. So we'll remove from self.tiles at the index. So this index is what we get with, because we're using this table as kind of an array, we don't have keys for our values in the table. We just have numbers that get assigned automatically starting at 1. And so if we use this thing called index, which you get these two values from I pairs, just means iterative pairs. So you get, instead of just key value pairs, you get 1, 2, 3, 4 with the value, with the tile in this case. So we get every index, we get every tile. What we're going to do in our code is in main, we're going to flag any removed tiles as, we're going to flag it as remove. We're going to add a remove flag to it. And then once we do that, we're going to call this at the end of that whole operation. It's going to say just grid remove tiles, deleted tiles, blah, blah, blah. It's going to do this thing. And we can do that pretty easily if we go over to here. Oh, actually, I'll do it in my move right function since that works correctly for right now. And what I'm going to do is say, where is it at? It happens in here. So what I do is tile.remove is equal to true, and then I say grid, what was it? Remove deleted tiles. Right. I could also probably call grid table.remove grid.tiles, whatever this index is in, but we don't know the index offhand. Although we could get it up here, actually. Well, actually, no, we don't. We're not storing it. Never mind. We've changed our code around a little bit too much to need to do that. But now, theoretically, this should work. Yes. Amazing. Dope. Easy. Now, let's test to make sure that moving left merges the numbers together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to grid, and instead of doing 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, I'm first of all just going to get rid of the second row. And I'm going to do 4, 1, 3, 1, like that. So now it's like this. Move to the left, and it works. Easy. So we're there. We're getting close. We have the x-axis done now. Now we need to do the y-axis, which is a little bit different. It's because we have to flip the loop. We have to flip our, excuse me. We have to flip our xy loop a little bit. So let's do that. Let's go to main. Go over to, well, I guess I can just recopy this. I hate how long this function is, but honestly, it's going to take me so long to find a really clean way to refactor all this out that I'm not even going to worry about it right now. We're going to do that later. In the meantime, let's figure out move down and move up. So move down first. So we'll do this. Boom. This is now moved down. This needs to be reversed. So this becomes x, and this becomes y. And is this correct? So if we're moving down, we want to start at the top, and then we want to work our way from 2 down to 4. So, yep, OK, perfect. It's essentially the same thing as x, or moving x to the right. OK, so this needs to be get bottom, wait, leftmost? Shouldn't this be rightmost? Wait, what? What the heck? Oh, because I copied move left. Right, yeah. I think, did I? Should be rightmost, right? OK, it's correct in the place where it needs to be correct. So this is going to be get bottommost, open x, and then farthest. OK, so farthest, it needs to be farthest y now. So this is where we need to refactor things a little bit. So it's no longer farthest x. This all gets changed to farthest y. This is good. Yep. Farthest y. Cool. And this needs to be 4, not 1. If farthest y is greater than, wait, how did I set it? It was farthest y is less than 4. Yeah, so the same thing here, less than 4. Okay. This needs to be x, and then farthest y minus 1. So farthest y, or is it plus 1? Shoot. Farthest y plus 1. Plus 1, this becomes x. This needs to be tile y, old y, tile y, farthest y plus 1. Farthest y is not equal to y. Okay, so far so good. Then we can copy this over to the new function. And this needs to be old y and x. Okay, this is good. Let's make that match that. Okay. Okay, this needs to be old y. This needs to be x and old y. So tile y is equal to farthest y. This needs to be x and then tile y. This needs to be x and old y. And then this should be fine. Okay, fingers crossed. Oh, we need to set the right tiles so that we can actually experiment with this. So I'm gonna do 1 1, or I'm gonna do 1 1 and 1 and 1 2, like this. Fingers crossed. Ah, damn. Method get bottommost open. Oh, get bottommost open x is not a thing. Dang, so close. Oh darn, it doesn't work. Okay, shoot, that's not good. That's gonna be a pain to troubleshoot. Okay. But it's probably a simple thing that I did. So let's figure this out. So starting at 2, yep, because we want to go, starting from 2, go down. Actually, is that true? Is that true? Move left. Oh, you know, wait. Wait, we're going backwards from the right. Yeah, because we're moving tiles 1 at a time. Oh, yeah. Yeah. 3 1. Yep, that is indeed what needs to happen. Boom. Easy. See? It's easy. It's easy stuff. And I can move this around. Except that's not getting fixed. So old y, that thing that we just did with this, where is it? This needs to go with the other functions. So this needs to go here. Right? Is that correct? Is there not one more thing? And it goes into the grid get tile, right? And then this also goes right over here. Boom. So now I can do that. But I can't move up yet. So that's our last piece here before we can start adding random tiles. That'll be cool. Okay, let's go up here. This will be move up. Again, I hate that we're trying to refactor everything, but everything is still very bulky. These functions are very bulky, and it's just going to take a long time, I think, to really abstract it out cleanly. It'd be nice, though. Like this could be made a function that takes in the tile and tweens it. Because this is all the same for everything. Like tween tile. I could just call that tween tile. That would save some lines. And this could be this too. This could be tween collapse, which takes in a tile. Am I right? Yeah, that should be, and that could even be tile tween tile, possibly. Maybe? That would save some lines of code. It's worth thinking about. Maybe we'll try it after this, but let's do this move up first. So this needs to be 2 4, and then this needs to be topmost. and this needs to be 1. And then farthest y is greater than 1. This needs to be farthest y minus 1, minus 1, and maybe that'll work. Oh, let's create the right grid tiles first. So this will be 1, 3, and 1, 4. Okay, and then if I run this, oh, doesn't work. Shoot. Okay. Why did that not work? What the heck? What is not working? For moving left, how did I do it? Because moving left is essentially the x analog for moving up. X, Y, 1, yeah. 2, 4. Greater than 1. Minus 1, minus 1. Wait, what the heck? Sorry, I've been missing a lot of the conversation. Looks like it's very internal. When will the next cybersecurity stream be? Good question. Nick is like going on vacation for a long time. I have no idea. Whenever he has time to do another stream, maybe. That'd be cool. Okay. Why is this not working the way that it... Oh. Because of this. Right? Does this move up? Oh, this is move left. Okay, I was like, that shouldn't be there. No, but this is move left. Dang it. Greater than 1. Okay, cool. Oh, is get topmost not programmed correctly, maybe? Oh, wait, these are mismatched. Okay, wait, is that? Okay, this needs to be start X, start Y. That's weird. Okay. That was an accident. I switched the parameters in the function. That will not help you. That will not serve you well. Cool. Okay. Good. I think that should work. Let's try it. Yes. Yes. Cool. Isn't this awesome? Now, the important step is we have all of the things moving in the right directions. Now what we need to do is add random numbers to the grid and actually start playing the game the way that's meant to be played, I suppose, and also checking for loss conditions and win conditions. So, okay. In each of these, move down, move up, move left, move right, whatever, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call grid spawn tile. And what this is going to do when I implement it is literally as it says. I need to be in here. Function grid spawn tile. It's just going to be random for right now. We could have made it parameterized such that it takes in an x and a y. Oh, Naysayer 88, rating with a party of 345. That's awesome. Well, thank you very much for the raid. Hopefully we survive it. That's a lot of people. We are currently programming for any of the folks joining that are unfamiliar. we're making the game 2048. So this is where we are so far. We just finished the number merging of stuff. The code is on GitHub. So all of you feel free to go to GitHub and download it. I'll paste it in the chat. github.com/coltonoscopy/2048stream. And actually, what I recommend that I do myself right now actually is commit all of this, because we've done so much work today that, and it's in a stable state, that I think we can actually safely commit everything. But I think we need to add everything and then commit, because we added the new library. And we refactored all of the files too. So capfits, LOL, coltonoscopy, yeah, that's my username. It's pretty memorable. I like to think anyway. So it's pretty cool if all 345 folks are into coding or whatnot. We do a lot of stuff on here. So typically what I do is I make things from scratch. I'm more into games, so I'll make a game from scratch. But we have people come in that do talks on cybersecurity and a bunch of other stuff, technology. We talk about concepts, languages. We do code reviews. That's a fun thing that we do. We might do some of that more in the near future. How much should a coltonoscopy cost you? Does Corpus C? A lot. It would cost you a lot. We just watched 2 hours of programming. Oh geez. What kind of stuff were you guys implementing on your stream out of curiosity? I'm not sure. Naysayer 88. I might have to look that up. Why is there Chinese in the schedule? Good question. Magaton new. It shouldn't display. Do you have localized settings for your browser by chance? Are you based in China, or do you have Chinese settings? The schedule, I think, pulls from your time zone or whatever your settings. Oh shoot, Jonathan Blow's stream working on a game. Oh, that's awesome. I'm really excited for Jai to come out, because I based on what he did in some of his demos, it seems like a pretty sick language. I don't know if he's still doing. If he's using Jai, I imagine he's probably using Jai for that, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, everybody who's in the chat from that stream. Oh, okay, awesome. I am so excited to get the chance to actually use it. I looked it up like a month ago or 2 months ago. All of you are obviously familiar with what's going on now. Is it currently in a state where it's public, or is it still private? Because I know that he wants to kind of roll it out and make it stable, right? From what I understand? Oh, okay, still private. That's okay. I mean, it's going to be sick when it gets released. The compile time was the thing that sold me. Like when he compiled that whole game in like a nanosecond, I was just blown away. And it looks like a pretty cool language, like a pretty clean language. I mean, Lua is a clean language too, right? All of you who are on that stream probably are familiar then with Lua and probably a lot of programming languages. But it reminds me, Jai sort of reminded me of like a Rust and a Lua kind of syntax. So, and thanks so much for everybody who, yeah, Go-ish too. Yeah, it looks a little bit like Go. Yeah, got a lot of followers actually. So thanks everybody who came in. So Sarsec, Turtret, Desmoronars, FunkDev, Xomagon, Hexen, Partytron, Jones, and Just Smile, and yeah. It's good stuff. John's made some pretty sick games. Python is awesome. Python is king. Syntax is not done yet. That makes sense. I mean, I also feel like John is probably spending his time like actually coding like real world projects, such that he knows whether or not certain things are going to be good for production or not. Like sort of testing the waters, so to speak. But anyways, we got a Cujo and STC, Just Smile, and Renato Rebello. Sorry, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Yeah, Sapper. That's the sort of impression that I had. Well, anyway, where we left off on was that can't deal with indentation for code blocks. It's not bad, Zodo. It really is not bad. Once you get used to it, it really is actually, it's quite nice. Especially once you get used to like editing really crappy code bases where people don't indent, it's kind of a drink of water. It really is. But I understand where you're coming from. It's hard for most people that aren't used to an indented programming language. Like, you kind of have to really get your hands dirty with it and make something. But once you do, you're going to be like, wow, I kind of like the fact that I'm forced to write clean code. It's kind of nice. But, you know, that's, I think, a good reason for Python's popularity. Like, everybody's source code is to a bare minimum level of readability. And some languages don't, you know, like, you can go real nasty with some languages. You can go nasty with Lua too, but indentation is not equal to clean code. That's not necessarily the point that I'm trying to say. But a lack of indentation will very clearly make your code look horrible, in my opinion. So it's like one of the facets of, I think, readable code, at least. Readable. Maybe not necessarily clean from a design perspective, but readable. So if that makes sense. Using a good editor makes Python so much better. I used to hate it before I started using it in Sublime Text. That's true, too. Having a good editor makes a huge difference. I'm using VS Code. I'm a big fan of VS Code. I used Sublime for a few years, Atom for a couple years. They're all sort of at feature parity, honestly, so they're all good. They're all good stuff. It's cool. You can install like linters for Python, which is really cool. So most modern editors, I think Sublime has this, and Atom and VS Code for sure have this, like linters where it'll actually show you on the left-hand side in real time where your bugs are. That's nice to have. And you can even get this to work with C and like C++, which is crazy. Like not having to actually compile your code and almost program it in a sort of dynamic style like you're programming in Python. It's actually pretty nice. And I've heard good things about PyCharm. PyCharm's cool too. I've never used PyCharm myself. I've worked with some people that have used it though. They seem to think that it's really cool. So could be great. For some reason, YouTube is not receiving information. I'm not sure why that is. Oh, probably the stream died on the encoder. Oh, it did. Yeah, see, the slave. We'd have to shut down the entire thing, though, if we wanted to. Yeah, we're just going to keep going. We're already like more than 2/3 of the way through the stream anyway. But thanks. Appreciate it, Andrew. Yeah. OK, where was I? Did you check if you have internet? Good. That's a good point. That's a good point. Renato Robello, yes, we are using Love2D. Vim. We got Vim warriors in the chat. Shout out to Vim. Vim's cool. I never got super used to using it. I used it for a little bit. And I know that you can do like insanely efficient editing with it. But I did not spend the time to do it. I'm not that much of a lead hacker, unfortunately. What is Love2D? Love2D is a pretty cool lightweight game framework. So it's a free 2D engine. You can download it here on love2d.org. And it's cross-platform, so it's pretty nice. And it uses only Lua as its scripting language. And it has a really clean API. Like, go to the wiki. And if we go over to like love.graphics, you can see, you get a sense, it kind of explains everything about every major namespace within the framework. So the love.graphics namespace, you can see all of the sort of concepts that you need to think about, and also all of the main, I guess sort of, they're called types here, but they're, I guess classes. I guess there are types. They're objects essentially, and you can like click on, for example, what's a quad, and it tells you quad is a a quadrilateral with texture coordinate information. This is how you splice up sprite sheets, for example. So it's pretty nice. They use Y down, unplayable. I feel like that's pretty common. Like Unity doesn't do Y. Unity does Y up, but like I've used so many. I feel like I've used so many game engines that were Y down, and I've gotten so used to it. But yeah, I mean, if you're used to like high school geometry, then yeah, it's a bit of a shock to the system. I can totally understand that. That makes sense. I've gotten used to it. I'm desensitized to it at this point. But yeah, no, it's good stuff. Plenty of Ludum Dare games made in it. Yeah, that's the thing. It's such a good prototyping framework because of how easy it is. And it runs really fast for what it is. It's very lightweight. It's just a C++ binary with the Lua scripting layer. So it's like really fast. I wouldn't go so far as to maybe say like native compiled code fast, but like fast enough for like pretty much any 2D games. What do you think of protobuf? I'm actually not sure what that is. What is protobuf? Protobuf. Protocol buffers. Oh, I have heard of this, but it's been forever since I looked at this. Serializing. Oh, so it's like is it like a new JSON? I guess like the new like Google wants this to replace JSON. Oh, it like writes to different languages. Oh no, different data streams using different languages. I'd have to see it in use, honestly. I don't know. I mean, it looks cool, I guess. It's yeah, it's not bad. It's almost like SQL. It's almost like defining a SQL query or a SQL table. That's what it looks like too. That's not bad. Please don't carry over the insiders. Next, you ask about ECS. Yeah, ECS would be a bit of a that would be a bit of a conversation for the stream. I think ECS is cool. I like the way Unity does it. I am not so sure I would need a really big game to be compelled to create an ECS for something. Like, I would maybe consider using it for a roguelike, because having components to model like arbitrarily mixed together behavior for monsters and stuff is actually pretty sweet. But for like this, for 2048, I don't think I would ever want to use an entity component system for that. I think that would be, unless you're talking about ECS is a different thing altogether. I apologize. That's what I know ECS to mean. So you could be talking about something completely different. But anyway, back on track just a little bit. What I wanted to do is to get the next big piece of this done. And we were in the process of actually writing the function for that. So that was, where was that? Create, what was it? It's down here, right? Spawn tile. That's what it was. So what I essentially wanted to do was get a random x, y from the grid. And if there isn't a tile there, so what I should do, the first thing that I should do is say local is available. No, that's a bad name. We'll say local is empty slot available. And I'll set that to, do I want to set to false? Because what we want to do is we want to pick a random x, y on our tile grid. We want to make sure that the tile grid is not filled, because if it's filled, oh, did I forget to do that? OK, my bad, my bad, my bad. I am horrible. OK. Oh, literally right in the middle of it. OK. Stable moving and combining numbers. Cool. I'm going to push that. So anybody who has, if anybody who's new to the stream wants to download that, it is at here, Coltonoscopy 2048 stream. I'll write it again in the chat in case anybody wants to click on it. github.com/coltonoscopy/2048 stream. Boom, you can click that. Wouldn't it be nice if someone can contribute to the code live if you are stuck somewhere? Maybe, but we would have to go through the song and dance of like merging code, and I would have to make sure that nobody was typing anything malicious, and I'd have to like go through it. It would be rough. Yeah, Pulp user says that would be absolute chaos. We do the streams. We do have streams on here for the new folks that are like pretty chaotic, where we essentially take a goal, like Project Euler problems, and we let the chat write each line of code, but we create a queue for it. So I would say you would type in 3 Mr. Destructoids like this. This is the thing we do. This is for the new people that are in here from John's stream. But you would, if you want to participate, you would type like the 3 Mr. Destructoids like that, and then we create a queue of people, and then I write your name in the queue, and then you submit to me a line of code at whatever point you want, and then we run, like basically conglomerate this entire source file with everybody's contributions, and we get it to eventually run. And we've actually gotten it to work, which is pretty cool. Doing it just sort of at will, like letting everybody write without any sort of mechanisms in place to safeguard anything, would be pure chaos. Like things would break and it would be horrible, and my computer would get destroyed if I was running a local server to actually host it. But the way that we do it actually works pretty well. So maybe we'll do one of those streams in the near future. We'll test it out. But anyway, Let's go back here. I just made all the changes that were necessary. And you should see this. Oh, I have a DS store in there. I forgot to ignore that. Oh, well. Worry about that later. So spawn tile. What spawn tile should do is say, oh, this is perfect. This is perfect. This is easy. So we'll just say if the size of self.tiles is equal to or is less than 16, then do this, right? Because there are only 16 tiles. So if they're all filled, then we don't even want to spawn a tile. So in this case, I want to say local x, y is equal to math.random of 4 and math.random of 4. This is just assigning two variables to two expressions, two evaluations. And then I can say while self.tiles yx, or actually, what I should say is while not self.tiles yx do xy is equal to math.random for math.random 4. And at the end of that, I want to do, I want to create a tile. So where would that be? That's here. So I would do self create tile at xy. That should work in theory. Let's see if that actually works. So if I move these up, ah, damn it, didn't work. Grid 84. At y, x. Oh, because it's indexing. While not doesn't account for, that's interesting. So while not doesn't actually account for the nil case. So if I move up, it's trying to index it a nil value. Oh, right. Oh, because it's not self.tiles, it's self.grid, and then it's .tile. Duh. OK, silly me. Boom. OK, that's not working the way that I expected it to. Not even close. Why? Wait, what? What the heck? That's OK. Oh, wait. OK, I'm an idiot. It should be while self-grid. It should be this, not while not. That was me being stupid. OK. Cool. That works. Oh, this is so cool. Oh, man. Oh, this is the game. Oh, wait, what just happened there? Did one of them get folded away? Oh, some of them are disappearing. Oh, some of them are getting overwritten. Oh, that's weird. OK, so for a second, we had it. For a second, we had it, and it was going strong, and it was sick. But something is broken. Something is horribly broken. OK, so let's try this again. Go up. That's 4. OK, awesome. OK, cool. Let's go down to... OK, so it's going over the 2. Why? Why is it overlapping it? What? OK, and then farthest tile isn't working when the row is filled. That's not how it should be working. OK, let's try this again. So I'm going to go up. I'm going to go to the right. And then when I go down, and there should be a tile down there, because what happens is in the code, we currently walk backwards from the bottom. So we go here, and then here, and then here. And then we move down all the tiles where there's an empty tile. So in this case, this one would see there's an empty tile here. It moves here. So this now becomes a tile with value 2, num2. And then we do the same thing with this tile, which will be empty, so it won't work. Empty, so it won't work. And then this one, which should come all the way down here, see that there's a tile here, and get assigned this space, because this isn't the same number. This is the number 2. Therefore, this won't merge with this one. But it's coming down, and it's merging. It's getting assigned to that index. If I move up. That is so weird. Oh, wait. But create tile should work, though, right? Am I forgetting something? Create tile. Am I forgetting something with this? Yeah, I feel like this should work. Okay, well, what if instead, what if we do this? What if I say for I is equal to 110? So make a, just a random, oh, this needs to be spawn tile. Yeah. This is spawn tile. Okay, let's do that. Oh, wow, that's a lot. Probably don't want that many. Maybe start with like 5. Okay, so if I move down, if I move to the right, yeah, they all collapse, no matter what. It doesn't take into consideration. Oh, but not when going up. Oh, this is so messed up right now. Ah, geez, okay. And farthest tile actually breaks going down on a full line. 136 in main, which is here. This is rough. We had it. We were going strong, and this might end up being what we do on the next stream is debugging that bit of behavior and actually styling it, and then getting the what's it called? The winning and loss conditions. Those winning and loss conditions are pretty easy because you just check for a number being equal to 2048. And then for the loss conditions, you just check each tile to see if they have a non-equal neighbor. But this bug is weird. I'm not entirely sure what this is. It looked like it was working perfectly before, but that's so strange. Yeah, they can't mix together. Huh. It's always 136 too, which is move down. So move down is bugged. Why is move down bugged? Okay, so move right. Let's see what move right is. And there's a lot of code repeat here too. We didn't have time yet to, I would love to refactor these move functions out into a single function that's a little bit more abstract. But we have not had time yet on stream. Farthest x less than 4, yep. For this y less than 4, yep, that's fine. Moving down and moving right are the same operation, but inverted axis-wise. So this, yeah, that's so weird. Is bottommost messed up? Like if I were to go into grid, is get bottommost screwed up? Because I had the order, oh, I do have the order met. Ah, geez, okay. Start x. Start y. Hate myself. Okay. And this is actually out of order. This needs to go. This needs to go like up here. Okay. Okay, we're getting closer, but. Oh, you know what it is? It's not moving into the tile. So my logic has it so that it actually won't move into the tile when it can't move, like when it can't actually physically move. So it's not taking that into consideration, which it should. Shoot, that's unfortunate. That's a big deal. Okay. Okay. We're getting there though. This is working. It's getting bigger and better. I should be able to. Okay, so when it can't move, if I move left and the tiles can't move, it should still try to do a merge. That's the thing that's not working. The merge isn't working when it's static. When the tiles are touching each other and it can't actually physically move the tiles. That's what it's doing. It's physically only doing the check when the tiles are physically moving. So we need to. We need to prevent that. We need to be a little bit better about that. That might be some work, though, honestly. This looks like it could be a problem. Okay, well, let's try it first with move right. So let's get move right correct, and we can work our way from that. So if we're on move right and we say yeah, we don't care about the right edge, but we do care about this happening. Oh, but you know what it is though? Oh wait, no, farthest x. Farthest x, if it's the same, which it will be, it will be the same as our number if we're trying to move in that direction and there's a blockage, because it just returns the -1 off of the next physical block in that direction that we're going. So in that case, we do need to do this check, the actual equality check, the number equality check, when we're up above there. So if I do this, so it'll be like that. Oh wait, nope, wrong place. We can do this this though, else, and so I wonder if we do if farthest x is not equal to x, or wait, where am I getting farthest tile? Wait, where's that? Wait, what? Oh, did I? That's weird. Okay, let's Command Z that a couple times. Okay, let's go back to main, down to move right. Wait, do I have? Okay, so I am setting. Wait, where's farthest tile? Local farthest tile. Local farthest tile. Okay, I just accidentally deleted it earlier. Okay, I guess I did. I wonder if, because you could do like if farthest x plus 1 is less than 4, which would give us, for the move right, which would mean that whatever our current one is plus the one next to us is less than 4, right? I wonder if that would work. I feel like it would introduce other factors as well. So I'm curious, but we can try it. So yeah, let's try that. No, it's still not working. Damn. Okay. Okay. So Yeah, rightmost open X. I feel like this should work. I wonder what is messed up about it. Yeah, because my logic is currently rightmost open X will return the nearest open slot on the board, right? So if we start here and we call this move right function, the farthest open X is going to be 4. And it's going to move there. It's going to move to 4. But if we do this, all right, let's get this into a situation. So now, if I try to move right, this one, excuse me, this one will, in theory, this will be the farthest open X that this one gets is going to be 3. Because it's just going to return its own value. Because this one's blocked. The nearest open one will just be whatever the starting value was that it moved to the right. Because it moves left to right when it tries to calculate the nearest open right slot. So it'll start here at 3, try to go to 4. 4 is blocked, so it'll just return 3. And as a result of that, I had an if here that says if farthest X is not equal to X to prevent any movement, any collapsing from happening. But that's not necessarily always the case. Sometimes when farthest X is equal to X, we do want to move to the right. So I accounted for or the possibility of farthest X plus 1 being less than 4, which it will be. And it'll still help the situation where we're on the right side. Now what I say here is I say if farthest X is less than 4. Okay, that's the problem. Because farthest X isn't going to be less than 4. Oh, you know what we do? Oh no, we just say if tile. We just say if tile.tile X is less than 4. That's all we have to do. Oh wait, no, is that not right? 58? Where did that happen? Main 269. Okay. So what's happening is we're saying, basically we're adding 1 to the farthest X, which it would be 4. It would be 4 if we if we're moving to the far right side of the grid. So I think we're mostly watching Colton suffer. There's a little bit of that. There's a little bit of that. Who knew the game looked so simple to play it could cause headaches to implement? Yeah, it's a bit of work. It's a bit of work. It's not horrible, but a lot of these grid-based tile games are deceivingly hard, deceivingly intricate, much more so than you would anticipate. That being said, I mean, this game is doable in a day. If we were to spend like literally a whole day, we could code this in a day. Like this would be like a 10-hour. I think we lost a little bit of time and flow when we took a week break from it. But I think if we sat down and we were like, okay, we're going to spend 12 hours coding 2048, we could do it in 12 hours probably, maybe 16. Like run to run completely, like pretty polished at the end, I think that's like a 16-hour project. This one is probably going to end up being a 3-part. Yeah, it's already 2:39, so it's going to be a 3-part stream. The last part, I'm pretty confident we can get everything working and like looking pretty solid by the end of the next stream. Because really the hardest part of 2048 is this merging of tiles and moving everything around and keeping track of everything. Like that's the hardest part of implementing this game. Everything else is pretty easy, honestly. Even when we get to styling the numbers and the colors, that's all easy. That's just an additional flag that we store on the tile object. That's a piece of cake. It's this management of the game state, the board, that's the real difficulty. And also that fact that we're tweening everything and that we have asynchronous operations going on, that adds a little bit of complication to it, but that's even not that terrible. That's actually relatively easy to do using knife.tween or knife.timer, which is a super nice library. Here's what we do. We just say math dot, well, shoot. Oh right, yeah, because this is okay. This is only going to happen when there's an empty space there. So okay. Oh, wait, no, this... Okay, so this is what happens when there's an empty space there, right? Yeah, we defer to that afterwards. But the actual merging code is here. And... I wonder if I could break this function out into a smaller function. We could make everything smaller, it'd be easier to actually read. So we could call this merge tile, like merge tween. So if I say merge tween, and it takes a tile like that, right? And then I come back up to the top here. And then tile is going to be right here. Yep, grid is everything. That's great. Okay, cool. That should work. And then everywhere I have that tween operation, I can just say merge tween, right? I should be able to. Yeah, so like this should be merge tween tile. Saving us like a lot, actually. Them saving us, think about 40 lines. Merge tween tile. And merge tween tile. Okay, that's nice. That simplifies the code a little bit. But we still have the problem. Oh, we can do this too. We can actually do move tween. We can call a move tween function. Move tween tile. Yeah, we'll do that as well. Why not? Move tween tile. And, oh, whoops. I did not copy the correct thing. Where'd it go? This. Copy that. Paste it right in there. Boom. I think that should work. Yeah, that should work. Cool. So now we can get rid of all those tween replicated calls, which were starting to get cumbersome. So this will be move tween tile. This will be move tween tile. And then this will be move tween tile. Okay, might as well try and simplify the code as much as possible. I'll remove these print statements as well for right now. We don't need them. Okay, so the problem is that we're taking this, we're basically saying if the tile x is less than 4, but farthest x plus 1 still needs to be, farthest x needs to be like capped. So you basically need to say something like farthest x is equal to math, or is equal to math dot max of 3 and farthest x. Like that should, in theory, fix it, right? No, 50, that didn't fix it, unfortunately. Oh, because we need math.min. Sorry. Wait. Yes. Yes. Okay, farthest tile is a nil value. 253. Farthest tile. Oh. Oh, this is where we got rid of farthest tile. Yeah, that's why I need it right here. Here we go. Why did I get rid of that? That's weird. Farthest, okay. Do something like this. Oh wait, no, I didn't get rid of it. It's right there. Wait, what the heck was saying that it wasn't there? Farthest tile, move right, 253. Yeah, farthest tile. It's literally right here. Wait, what? Attempt to index local farthest tile a nil. Oh, it's a nil value. Oh, interesting. Okay. It's a nil value. This is a great time. Oh man. Yeah, code gets messed up by even good programmers. Look at Windows 10, says GenHacks. Ooh, shots fired. Let me think here. Stream is like close to wrapping up point, unfortunately. But we'll see how much we can do in the next 5 to 10 minutes. And hopefully next time when we come back to this, we'll have a finished product at the end of the day. We did make a lot of progress today. I mean, the main goal was to do the code refactor, which we did. So now everything is separated out into files, and we created a lot of smaller functions, and we cleaned up our code base a lot. Unfortunately, we did make progress with the number combination. We got it working, but there are bugs with it still. And that's the biggest thing. Once we get all the bugs fixed with the tile movement, everything else is easy. Everything else falls into place, like the colors, the winning and losing, the scoring. That's all that's like super easy. It's it's moving tiles asynchronously that are a part of a grid, but also have a physical position in space that need to like be replaced and moved around. It just gets kind of complicated. Not impossible, but a bit of a pain. Oh, was I editing move up this whole time? That might be why. Oh wait, no, this is what I was editing. Yeah, okay. I had a brain fart. Farthest x should be setting the min. And this is really where we do the check, too, to make sure that we can actually merge the tiles. We do on line 254, if farthest tile.num is equal to tile.num. But for some reason, we can't index into, it's saying we can't index into farthest tile because it's nil. So farthest tile isn't actually getting a result. which is kind of strange. Oh, because it's going to be empty in this case. Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. So this is on 254. Right. Okay. Yep. So if not farthest tile, then continue. Or then go to continue end. Oh, well, that's weird. The tiles at the very top are not moving to the right. Oh, that's weird. Oh, but some of them are combining. Oh, everything is just so messed up. Jeez. I don't even know. Everything is just getting deleted. Is continue a label? Yes. Continue is a label. And when you go to, you can go to a label at any arbitrary point. The only thing is that the only reason we're using this is because Lua doesn't have continue as a construct, unfortunately. So in order to actually continue a loop iteration, you need to define a go-to label and then go to it, which kind of sucks. But, you know, not every language can be perfect. I'm running out of brain cells, too. Not that I had that many to begin with. Well, I mean, it works, but it doesn't, for some reason, the very first row isn't moving over. Or it's only moving over when there's actually a tile there. Oh, wait. That could be the problem. Yeah, that's the problem. Okay. Normal move. Go to normal move. There we go. Although I'm not sure why that moved there. That's weird. Everything's moving. Everything's not combining properly. And wait, what the heck is going on? Everything is horribly broken. This is beautiful. It could be an off by one. Yeah, it looks like an off by one. It's so weird. We weren't having that issue before. I mean, there's this farthest x deal here. But the whole point of that was to just make sure that farthest x is never 4, so that our +1 doesn't go off the edge. Now what it's doing is it's oh wait. No, that still didn't fix it. 5, 6 with less than equal to 1. Yeah, that does not. Oh wait, what that? So equal to 5? It's be silly, but yeah, that still doesn't fix it. Okay. Less than or equal to 4. Yeah, we should always take 3. If it wants to move to the right, farthest x will be 4. So it'll turn into 3 because of math.min, so that when we add 1 to it, we can still move there. Oh, wait. That's what it is, I think. Oh yeah, that's it. OK, that's cool. However, merging is not working. But at least the off by 1 error is fixed. Use a debugger, LOL. Yeah, that's true. This time, a debugger probably makes sense. I might whip up ZeroBrain, actually. ZeroBrain Studio is an IDE for Lua and LÖVE that people are thinking would be pretty cool. That I've used it. So I might actually, yeah, I might actually turn that up. Maybe try that on the next stream, just to see what it looks like. I know it has a really good built-in debugger. And it actually looks pretty nice, from what I remember seeing. ZeroBrain Studio. Yeah, because being able to inspect those tiles right now would be pretty cool. My next step would be just dump all the tiles and their positions and whatnot. And there's no screenshots. Are there features? One of my students used this, and it was pretty cool. So I don't know. We will see. Yeah. Thanks for the suggestion, Shulver, for that. Marrakech, what do you think about the Ren programming language? I actually don't think I've even seen it. Oh, Bob Nystrom. That's cool. He has a really good game programming patterns book. Dash of Erlang. I don't know about the pipe syntax here. It's a bit odd. I think I would have preferred just word and then maybe an arrow. Like the way that JavaScript does it. I think JavaScript did a pretty good job with ES6 with a lot of the refinements they made. Under 4,000 semicolons. This is kind of cool, actually. It's, I'm interested to look into it. Let's see, where do they have like a good source of documentation? Let's get started. Oh, that's cool. They have an interpreter. I like that. That's nice. Oh, I see. They have var similar to JavaScript. But I'm guessing, oh, is it just a scripting language? Is it not? Oh, OK. So it is. Oh, it is a scripting language. OK. So it's not. But does it compile as well? Oh, OK. And I love how Python is just so slow compared to Ruby's actually really fast. LuaJIT though, LuaJIT is really fast. Yeah, LuaJIT it's hard to beat LuaJIT. And LÖVE uses, from what I understand, LÖVE uses LuaJIT actually. OK, that's pretty cool. So it still is a scripted language. It's not compiled, it looks like. I'm guessing it still runs on a VM, so it's still going to be somewhat slow. But that's OK. But yeah, cool. Thanks for introducing that to me. I'm happy to maybe take a look at it more in the future. I'm not going to commit the changes that I just made because they're breaking changes. So everyone has access to the code when it was at its most stable, which was arguably unstable, very unstable. But this is good. We still made a lot of progress. I mean, 3 hours, it's hard 3 hours, especially with no prep, to come in here and finish everything out. We made more progress than the more pessimistic side of me thought we would. The more optimistic side of me would have liked to see us finish everything. And when we started getting everything working, I started getting more optimistic. But bugs happen. Programming is hard, as I'm sure most of you know very well. And I'm not the world's greatest programmer, but I do have some experience dealing with it. So we're able to make some progress at the very least. What is my connection to Harvard? What do you do for a living? SI Twee. I work as a technologist here and a course instructor, teaching game development actually, where I actually teach in lecture format. So everything works right from the get-go and everything's not slightly broken like it is today. But we cover in my course how to do retro game development primarily, but also a touch of Unity at the end. So usually it's pretty case study kind of approach. Like we actually build full style games like Pong and Breakout and Super Mario Brothers and Zelda and whatnot, or at least pretty fleshed out mock-ups for them, and give students an opportunity to add features to them. So it's pretty cool. Can I teach there too, says Jen Hacks? I don't know. You might have to talk to Harvard administration to get in with that, Jen Hacks. I'm not so sure about that. But I'm sure they probably have an apply area, the extension school. But yeah, that's what I do. Technologist / course instructor / now social media and podcast producer and stream producer and whatnot. So. Oh yeah, Bavik, the empty tiles thing. Yeah, Minesweeper was such a fun stream though. When we coded that went super well. I was really happy with that. Hey, Gen Hacks, you never know, right? You might one of these days, if you wanted to teach at Harvard, maybe you could find a way to do it. Who knows? It's only up to you and your imagination. PHP forever, says Thunder O's. Ugh, make me throw up. Okay, on that note, it's been 3 hours. Thank you all so much for tuning in today. So we didn't finish, but we made a lot of progress. And next week, we'll do it again with part 3. Hopefully then we'll finish everything. Until then, I guess that's it for this week. So enjoy the rest of your week and your weekend. Thanks so much for all of the folks that tuned in today. Thanks to, so much to all the new folks that popped in as well. And if you're watching this after the fact, follow us on Twitch, twitch.tv/CS50TV. Also subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/CS50. Join our Facebook group where we have a huge network on Facebook. Facebook.com/groups/CS50. Ton of people. If you're learning how to program and you want to get some help, or if you want to take CS50 and get some help with CS50, which is an awesome course, by the way, join our Facebook group. Huge network of people. And a lot of those people frequent the chat here. So anyways, thanks so much, everybody. This is awesome. We made a lot of progress today, and I'm super happy. And I'm looking forward to closing it out next time. I will see all of you then, next Wednesday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.